What's up, guys? This is Bradley alongside Zach and Dawson, and you're listening to the Charm City Sideline podcast. Today is Wednesday, November 13th, 9:38 p.m. We're back with a Q&A episode. It's been kind of a while because we had a Thursday night game, so we haven't really seen you guys since Thursday night. Dawson was at that game, so he wasn't able to be with us for the post-game reaction. But yeah, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm honestly, I want to let Dawson speak here. I want to hear what happened, what the feelings were after that game, dude.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute. I feel like we haven't done this in a while. I haven't been here in a minute. That game was absolutely incredible. I will say I am 5-0 in Baltimore throughout my life of going to games at the bank. So take that with what you will. But the atmosphere last Thursday was absolutely incredible, as I'm sure it always is at M&T Bank. It was unreal to be there, especially with the Bengals coming into town. The game obviously had huge anticipation. And the game, delivered just that. And it was a fantastic game. A little bit of a heart attack, but in the end, obviously the Ravens got it done, which is incredible. The defense, once again, let us down in a big way. Luckily, like I said, we got the win at the end. But, dude, being there for that game, the atmosphere was absolutely off the wall. And the debut of the helmets and just the meaning to that game was just made it so special, and it was awesome. But we're feeling good, man. We're 7-3. Despite all this stuff this season that's taken place, unfortunately, in some bad ways and some good ways, we're sitting right at top of the AFC North. We got a big time matchup this week. It's Pittsburgh, man. It's tough. That they're our nemesis, and we never seem to beat them. So we got them on the horizon, and it's in Pittsburgh, and they're 7-2. So it's going to be a big time matchup, man. And I just can't wait.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Dawson's comment. Yeah, we do need Dawson to have season tickets, so we never lose a game.
I'll be in Baltimore every Sunday, man. I'll be there.
We need Dawson to be at every playoff game from here on out. But yeah, the game on Thursday was definitely interesting. It was one of those classic games that first half you're like, what is going on? And then second half offense came alive. Defense never really got it going, but they did make the game-winning play. So there's always that. Anyway, get into the first question here. This one is from John, and Zach, we'll start with you. John asks if we have confidence in the Ravens finally getting a win against the Steelers and possibly even a sweep this season. He also added, since 2020, the Steelers are 7-1 against the Ravens.
I honestly have no idea. Like, my confidence is surprisingly a little higher than I think most. But a sweep is also, gosh, that's hard to think about. Goodness gracious, it's a good Steelers team this year. And especially it's a good team where we would go into it on a normal week if they were, 4-4 or 4-5 right now, and we'd be like, dude, we could lose to them. And now it's the same thing. They're 7-2? 7-2? 8-2? I don't remember which. It's 7-2?
They're 7-2.
I don't know. It's the same feeling. But this case, I think a lot more people are down on the Ravens. Seeing that 7-1 against us too since 2020 is a big deal. I don't know how many of those that Lamar hasn't been a part of, or maybe
Lamar is 1-3 against the Steelers.
Okay, 1-3. That's still weird. It's weird to see Lamar against any team with a less than 500 record. But my confidence is high. I think this week we could get them. I'm not sure why this week rather than the next one. Maybe we just play better on the road. And I tend to be less confident sometimes at home. But I don't know. I feel like the confidence should be higher that we can get a win. Confidence shouldn't be too high for a sweep.
I agree, Zach. It is very weird to think about a world where Lamar Jackson genuinely struggles consistently against a very specific team. And obviously you can look at Kansas City. But to think that the Steelers are 7-1 against the Ravens since the year of 2020 is absolutely insane. To be honest with you, I can't even remember the win that we did get against them. Maybe I think it was the one week 17 in Baltimore with Tyler Huntley.
It was Lamar versus Duck Hodges when Marlon got the strip in overtime on Juju.
Oh my God, dude. It's weird to think about because Lamar and the Ravens in general, but Lamar specifically, Pittsburgh always plays extremely tough. And for some reason, they pull this trick out of a bag against Lamar Jackson, you could say. And every single time we play Pittsburgh, he like genuinely struggles. And the team in general struggles, but specifically our MVP quarterback, who looks like an absolute superstar against every other team. Specifically Cincinnati. I just posted that on my Instagram yesterday. It's funny to think about how Lamar is 10-1 against the Cincinnati Bengals, most notably 6-1 against Joe Burrow. And then you have Pittsburgh over here, which you just said, Brad, he's 1-3. It's just weird. It's a weird world. I don't know what it is. I know it's a huge rivalry going back till damn near the beginning of time with these two teams. I get it, but in recent memory, it's gone very poorly for the Ravens. They just can't seem to get it done against Pittsburgh, and it sucks because these are always games that and at the end of time and the end of the year, they always catch up to us, and those are games we really need, especially this year with them 7-2 atop the AFC North this year. Way better than most people thought they were going to be. And I will advocate, I was one of those who were high on Pittsburgh this year, despite others. I know Zach wasn't too high on them. But this game this week, man, it's oh my god, this is probably the biggest Ravens Steelers game I would say easily with what it means moving forward in the last at least 3 years. So Ravens got to get this win this week. I will admit, we'll talk more about this tomorrow or whenever we do our preview for this game, because this is just a Q&A more so. I am not really confident in this game, boys. I will say I have some weird expectations of what we're going to see on Sunday. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't like this matchup being in Pittsburgh at all. They're playing phenomenal football right now. Their defense is an absolute wrecking ball, and their offense right now outside the numbers is incredible. They're very physical, and the Ravens this year have not really been that physical. So I don't know. It's gonna be a big time game. It's probably gonna be a juggernaut fight all the way to the end. It's gonna be two teams just taking low blows to each other, and I think it's probably gonna be like a 20-14 game. That's always what it seems to be. Take the under. It's gonna be a very low scoring game, and it's gonna be whatever team in the end can make the last play. And I will admit, I hate to say this too. We've talked about it throughout the season. If this game comes down to a team having to make a field goal, I have a little bit less expectations and hopes as far as recent years because the Ravens right now are struggling on special teams, most notably Justin Tucker. So this game is going to be a very tight game to the end. I don't think any of us expect anything differently. It is every single year, every single time we play them. So it's going to be interesting. And like Dawson has just said right here, there's a little more meaning to this game given the players who have now switched sides in the rivalry. Like he said right there to Sean Elliott, Patrick Queen. Of course, we know that story. And then, of course, now we have Deontay Johnson and Arthur Millette. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be two teams just fighting for everything. And it's going to be a lot of guys trying to make a name for themselves, to try to prove to the other side that, maybe you shouldn't have let me go. So it's going to be interesting, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and I actually just realized as Dawson was talking, the last time we beat the Steelers, I said the last time Lamar beat the Steelers, which the last time Lamar beat the Steelers was 2019. The last time the Ravens beat the Steelers was Anthony Brown in 2022. If you guys remember that game. I barely remember it. The only reason I remember it a little bit is because I had some friends over, and I think that obviously you'll remember it a little better. But if that weren't the case, I think I'd have zero memories of it. I don't know if I can tell you a single play from that game.
I hate to sit here, but I can already tell you what's going to happen in this game. I feel like I can 100% tell you what's going to happen. The Ravens and Steelers are going to stay close the entire match. It's going to be a one-score game the entire game. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter. The Ravens are going to need to make a drive happen to win this game, and it's going to come down to getting in field goal position to win this game. And TJ Watt's going to come around the right side and strip sack Lamar, and Lamar Jackson's going to fumble it, and the Steelers are going to recover and probably win this game 18-16. It's going to happen. It's just the inevitable, bro. It's going to happen. And it sucks, dude. But I feel like that's what happens every single matchup between these guys. It always comes down to 3rd and 9. Ravens got to convert, got to get past midfield. And here comes TJ Watt blowing up the offensive line, or Cameron Hayward, or it's just always the same story, man. It's kind of annoying. It really is annoying. I hope what Michael Yeager just said right here. Man, Deontay Johnson breakout game would feed families. This would be incredible to see, given that he hasn't really done anything yet in Baltimore, which, I'm not blaming him at all. He's been here for 10 days. That would be pretty cool to see Deontay kind of get a heavy workload in this game and kind of give the double unos to his old team.
Yeah, and it'll be very fun to talk about tomorrow night, which for everyone listening right now, I will say we're gonna have a Steelers fan on tomorrow night, so we'll have some different opinions going into this one, and it'll be fun to have an opinion from the other side. But
Listen, real quick, too federal. I'm not putting anything bad in there. I'm just being honest because that's how all of these games finish. I have faith that we are going to win because we're a really good team this year. But I think we can all agree that our defense right now is horrendous and their offense is good. And it's in Pittsburgh. This game means everything. It's to move on first place in the division through week 11, I think it is. So let's just be honest. We can all expect some stupid things to happen in this game that should never happen. It always does happen, whether that's we blow it up, it's a turnover. Something's going to happen in this game where it really prevents the outcome or affects the outcome. So hopefully we're on the better side of that. But we all know some crazy stuff's going to happen in this game. It happens every time.
yeah, for sure. And Fish Thick with a funny comment there. Honestly, I think he can. I think Justice Hill can block TJ Watt. What's up, D Money? So yeah, next question. As I almost close out of my tab here, from Leonard, I'm starting to feel very concerned about the defense and Zach Orr's play calling. Is this going to be the reason we aren't able to win it all this year? I have thought a lot about this. And you look at the Titans defense right now. If for anyone that doesn't know, I'll clarify. Denard Wilson was the Ravens defensive backs coach. He's now the DC in Tennessee. Anthony Weaver was the Ravens defensive line coach. He's now the DC in Miami. The Ravens were kind of deciding between Orr, Weaver, and Wilson. And the Titans defense is number one against the pass right now. And if you were to compare the two rosters in terms of talent, you'd probably say that the Ravens defense is much more talented than both the Titans defense and the Dolphins defense as well. And both those units are having good years. You look back, let's go like a month back, and we're talking about the defense. We've talked about the defense almost every week. And I remember us saying, I feel like they'll eventually get it together. And you get to a point where you look at the Jets, for example, just as a whole, like your record is what it says you are. And I feel like that can go for like defensive statistics after week 10. Like that's just who you are. You know what I mean? And maybe they can improve. Maybe there's some adjustment at the bye week, but I really just don't feel confident right now. And I am a little concerned that this Ravens offense that's top 5 in DVOA in NFL history might not win the Super Bowl because of the defense holding them back.
I think you nailed it on the head right there, Brad. It's 10 games into the season at this point. There's no such thing as, oh, I'm hopeful this Ravens defense is going to turn around. No, we are more than halfway through the season. We have 7 games to go. We've already played 10, and this defense is still very, very bad. We're allowing 294 yards through the air per game. It's a disaster, man. This Ravens defense is an absolute disappointment this season, and it sucks because, like Brad just said, we have one of the greatest offenses in franchise, hell, NFL history, and it it very well could go to waste just because of the defense being as bad as it is. And it's sad because it's not like, we sit here as Ravens fans, and of course, we are spoiled. We are very spoiled with the Ravens defense every year, basically of our life being top 10, most consistently or more often, I would say top 5 at least. I mean, this Ravens defense has always been up there no matter what. Given a couple years with injuries and stuff, you can't really put that. But if the guys are majority healthy like this season, the team's always been great and the defense has always been fantastic. But here we are, where this defense is, I would say, bottom 5 right now, for sure. Bottom 5 in the NFL. Overall, you can't sugarcoat it, and they're just not getting it done, and it's really sad, man. It really sucks because I'm not sitting here saying this season's going to go to waste. I'm not saying the offense is going to go to waste because if you have Lamar Jackson a quarterback, you can see this. Everyone sees this now. You can win any game. The dude's literally like Superman. It's incredible. We were down 21-7 on Thursday night in the second half, and we came back and won the game. With Lamar in this offense, you can win any game. It doesn't matter. But at the same time, if you get into playoffs and you have to go on the road, given that that's probably what Baltimore's going to have to do this season if they make the playoffs, if and when, I should say, you're going to have to play some really good offenses at home in their stadium. And it's going to be really tough for this defense to be relied upon to make any crucial stop, given that the offense is not going to be able to put up 50 points every single game. So I am very, very concerned with this defense. I don't think it's going to get much better, if better at all, throughout this season. Hopefully, like Brad said, maybe at the bye week we can make some adjustments or we can sign somebody off the couch. I don't know. Maybe some of these guys will step up and play better to finish the second half of the season. But realistically, 10 games in the season, you can't rely, expect, or depend on any of that happening. You kind of just got to, it is what it is. Like Brad said, it's nailed it right on the head. It is what it is. This Ravens defense is really bad this season. And we're just going to have to hope this offense keeps it going, keeps stacking these games and getting even better, even healthier, which I would say Deontay Johnson's an addition. I would say health wise, you're bringing in another guy who can play really good football. Keaton Mitchell's coming back. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to score 50 points a game because we know this defense ain't going to cut it. And it's unfortunate because this is something we are not used to. So it's really hard to watch and kind of adjust to basically watching it every week. But, like Brad said, we've had several coaches leave defensively. We had a lot of departures on the defensive side, so we knew the Ravens defense was going to take a hit. Granted, we didn't expect it to be a bottom 5 unit in the NFL this season, but it's kind of alarming looking at Denard Wilson leave, Anthony Weaver, and Mike McDonald, of course, and have success elsewhere. When we hired Zach Orr, well, promoted him, I should say, and our defense has been terrible. So I don't know. It really sucks, and you can sit here and blame Zach Orr all you want. However, you can look at a lot of players that, like I just said, left, but there's a lot of players on the team this season that are playing nowhere near as good as they did last season. And I'm not blaming them at all. Namdi Matabike is a fantastic player. However, he had tons of sacks last year, like 14 sacks. And I know he's getting double teamed like every play, so it's not his fault. But, you got Brandon Stevens, who's playing very bad football this season, I would say. I'm sorry. I like the guy a lot, but he's playing very poor football. And he's graded, I think, literally as one of the worst corners in football this season as a starter. So that sucks, man. And it really puts a dead weight on the defense's shoulder.
Yeah, well, Dawson didn't sugarcoat it there. I mean, that's exactly how we should be feeling. I am going to sugarcoat it a little. I think that Zach Orr right now is calling good games, but I don't think he's doing everything on the field, which is what the players are doing, and they're not really getting it done. I think the players in interviews have been saying that, and since they have been saying it, I think that's the real reason, and that kind of sucks. Yeah, I mean, it's really just kind of sad to watch. I think that a reason we wouldn't be able to win it all is because that combined with other stuff, it kind of sucks. But I hope they figure it out. I think they will. I think the confidence shouldn't be like out the window. I think there's still plenty of time to figure it out. And it's all on players making plays, and I think they can.
And there's, I've been watching film. I was watching film today from the Bengals game. I sorted it by every 10-yard completion that the Bengals had, and I watched every play. A lot of it is Marcus Williams. The touchdown to Jamar Chase, the deep one over the top, was Marcus Williams.
I don't know what he was doing on that play.
It was a little confusing. A lot of it, and this is where Queen is being missed. A lot of it is Trenton Simpson, who you can't really blame let's just call him a rookie linebacker. Like, he's not great in hook zones, flat zones. He's good in man on a running back, but there's multiple times it's like you got cover 3 and you got a 15-yard in, and even Trenton Simpson and Roquan are just struggling with the hook zones. And there's been a lot of guys open over the middle. There's been a lot of leverage issues, which we've heard Bill Belichick talk about. I think the silver linings are Marlon Humphrey's been very, very good. I think Ardarius Washington has been good. I think we're moving him back to sort of that full-time safety role has been a good move.
Nate Wiggins has been pretty good.
Nate Wiggins has been good. There was a stat, PFF stat, 1 second. Lowest open target percentage among cornerbacks. Tariq Woolen, 24%, Sauce 25%, Nate Wiggins 25%, tied for second there. So feels like Nate Wiggins is sort of either there's a defensive pass interference or it's a PBU, which as a rookie you'll take that. And I think he's improved this season so far. Sutton asked, "What's up, Sutton? Thanks for being here. How do you feel about the high pressure rate but few sacks?" Do you guys have any opinion on that? I remember there was a play with OA where it's like the ball is right there. Like you can
Mhm.
strip this ball right now, and it kinda just goes for
Yeah.
the hit.
He was coming up right behind Joe Burrow, and Burrow had his arm cocked back, and literally all he would have had to do if he had any awareness was basically hit his arm, and that would have 100% been a fumble. And I get it, the adrenaline and you're literally like going after this guy. So maybe, it's not your first instinct, but like, it's like, these top playmakers like that, like TJ Watt, he's getting that ball. Trey Hendrickson, he's getting that ball. And Micah Parsons, all these guys, they're getting that ball. Um, it is crazy though, because like last week, I think we had like the league's most pressures in the NFL. And I think we had like the three guys with the most pressures and our defense still got chalked up for 34 points. So it's like it's weird. It's very odd because it's like we're getting pressure, but at the same time, it's not like helping this defense in any aspect, and the defense is still giving up 30 plus points a game. We don't have that one guy this season that's leading the league or leading the team by far and away in sacks, kind of like we had last year with Matabike. And Clowney and Vanoy both had a ton of sacks too. This year, they're kind of all jumbled up with like 5 or 6 with the guys we do have that are getting any. But I don't know. It's they're not getting home. They're not getting any pressure on these quarterbacks. These guys are literally sitting back in the pocket having all day long, dude. I mean, if you were watching that Denver game, Bo Nix literally had all day. Like he just snapped the ball. He would stand there and just wait for a receiver to get open. And sure enough, they would. I don't know. It's very odd. I don't even think realistically, if you threw in like one of these top I say this, of course, now because I'm trying to cope with the reality of what we're dealing with. But I think even right now, literally, if you threw in one of these top impactful pass rushers, I don't think it would help this defense like substantially. It would help, of course, obviously, but I don't think it makes like a day one difference because I think there's a lot of problems underlying in this defense that are way more impactful than just having no pass rush because that's what we're all saying, which of course is correct. But I don't know. It's just the play of Brandon Stevens is really hurting the secondary because teams are literally gashing him, dude. They're throwing the ball his way every single play, it seems, and he just can't respond. So that's hurting the defense in a huge way. I'm sorry, Namdi Matabike, not Justin, is getting double teamed like every play. I think I saw a thing, maybe it was right, maybe it was wrong, of like damn near half his snaps he's getting double teamed. So it's like, what's he supposed to do when he's getting the Aaron Donald treatment? And then Brandon Stevens is getting lit up. And like Brad said, Marlon Humphrey's having a great season. Nate Wiggins is playing good ball. Ardarius Washington's playing good ball. Kyle Hamilton's obviously fantastic. But then you got Eddie Jackson, you got Marcus Williams. These guys have been playing terrible football this season. I'm not going to try to sit here and lie to you guys. They're playing terrible football. Roquan Smith is not playing as good as he did last year. Trenton Simpson's kind of struggling big time. I don't know. It's just a weird unit that is like struggling across the board. And then you add in that we have a first year defensive coordinator with no previous defensive coordinator or substantial coaching experience. So it's kind of just a mix of a lot of things that is really hurting this team. And it sucks because, of course, the year the defense decides to just not be good is the year that we have like the greatest offense in franchise history, which it's like, of course, the Raven way. If this defense was even top 20, we would be undoubtedly the Super Bowl favorites. But here we are with the bottom 5 defensive unit in the NFL. So it's like, oh my God, we're 7-3, and who knows what's going to happen, man. I mean, we're talking about going into Pittsburgh this week and getting lit up because it could very well happen. And it's odd to think about because I know this ain't a Pittsburgh preview real quick, but I'm just going to say Pittsburgh absolutely dominates outside the numbers, their offense, and that's literally their strength. So it's going to be interesting to see how our guys respond. But I'm terrified thinking about Brandon Stevens on George Pickens. I do not want to see that matchup. I'm pretty terrified, and I really hope it's Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins shadowing over Pickens the majority of the day rather than Brandon Stevens. Because if it's B Steve, unfortunately, we all know what's going to happen. So I don't know. It's a mix of a lot of different things in the defense that are causing this unit to be terrible this season. I'll say it, terrible. So I just hope it can get cleaned up, man, because if this unit could even get to a top 20 unit in the NFL moving forward, man, to finish off this season, we would be fine. But like it being quite literally bottom 5 in the NFL it's so bad that it almost weighs down how good your offense is. And realistically, going into the playoffs and even later in the season when we have must-win games, we can't rely on the offense to put up 50 a game. There's going to be games where, like against Cleveland, where we can't even put up 30, and we can't have the defense getting hit up for 40 because it's never going to work. And it don't matter how good of a team you are, you go into the playoffs with this ratio of how good your offense is, how bad your defense is, the Ravens won't go too far.
Zach, what are your thoughts on the secondary? We had a comment from Michael about Tre'Davious White possibly coming in here and having a positive impact. What do you think about the corners and the safeties and the possibility of Trey White uh, having a positive impact?
Yeah, I'd be curious to see where they put him. Like, it depends on what you need right now. What what we're not seeing, as in, the players and what they're seeing, being the issue. If Trey White can go in there and communicate like the veteran he is, and really get all these other guys where they need to be and help out in that way, I think that's perfect. Um, Especially as a veteran guy, seeing so much in the NFL and knowing what you're going to see out of, like, I wouldn't say like a basic offense, but a good offense executed very well right now for the Steelers. So it's not like it takes, a freaking village. It's not like it takes an army to take down the Steelers offense. It's just that they're clicking on all cylinders and getting, um, big runs, like hard earned, nasty runs from like Najee and Jalen Warren, and then they can somehow air it out after. And that's all, deep ball stuff. I think sadly what last week was with the Bengals was getting killed a few times on some deep shots. And I can bet you a lot of money that the Steelers are going to try that too. I'm not sure they're going to be as talented and perfect as the Bengals offense is, but uh, the Steelers are definitely going to try it. And that's where the secondary is going to get tested a lot. I'm mostly nervous about safety play and not allowing, those big plays to turn into points immediately. I think we would all take a long 6-7 minute drive from a team rather than one play touchdown every time. So it's kind of like picking how we want them to score and how long it'll take because we feel like it's going to with our defense right now. It's just, I think, giving ourselves a chance, getting those stops, like lessening the yards on the first and second down rushing attempts or passing attempts, getting a few stops in general, and then executing on third down, getting us off the field, and just keep letting Lamar and the offense have a chance. Because even if they don't, start great like we saw in Cincinnati versus Cincinnati, then they can get going. It's just you have to give them as much chances as you can.
We need to jump out to a lead very early and kind of set our foot down in this game very early on to kind of show that Pittsburgh that, hey, we're done messing around. Like, we're here to win this time. Like, we're not losing. We're not making this game close. Like, we're gonna beat the out of you, and we're gonna win this game, and we're gonna take over first in the AFC North. I don't want to see a game where the Ravens offense comes out first, goes 3-0, gives it to Pittsburgh, they drive down. Like, that's just that's gonna be it's gonna be an immediate recipe for a loss. And we need to come out early, man, and make a statement and get this run game going, get Lamar going, obviously, because he will. And I want the defense to kind of find some mojo and momentum like early on, man. Like, kind of like hit this Pittsburgh offense in the mouth, man, and show them that, like, hey, we're not gonna get walked over today. Like, yeah, we're a bad unit, but like we came to play today, man. Like, we know what this game means. Like, so I just, if Pittsburgh comes out the gate firing, which they're going to, and they get on our defense early, man, it's gonna be very concerning.
For sure. It's definitely gonna be interesting, and I'm excited for tomorrow night to get more into it.
Mm-hmm.
To get into more of a positive question for our final question of the night. This one's from Oliver, and Oliver says that he's fascinated by the year Lamar's having. Did any of us expect him to be this good? And where does he belong in the all-time quarterback debate in your eyes if he wins a third MVP, Zach?
Whoa. I have no idea where he belongs in that group. I think I'm going to sadly flip the script a little. It really is the question of getting a Super Bowl or not. You can be in that conversation. Someone like Dan Marino's in that conversation without a Super Bowl. But if you're Lamar with 3 MVPs and no Super Bowls, not even appearance, it's hard to enter the next level of conversation, like the Brady's and Mahomes now. Like, they're going to be at a different table. Like, they're going to be by themselves. The rest of those top guys are still there. They're on the side. But Lamar's going to have to go with them and not with the top dogs like we know he can be. So he'll be there around that area, I think, by the end of his time. It's just going to be really interesting to see if it's to the next level or not.
And I can say confidently, as big of a Lamar guy as we all are, and Ravens fans, I never expected this guy to be who he has turned into for the Baltimore Ravens when we drafted him 32nd overall in the 2018 NFL draft. I just, I was super pumped to get this guy, and I never thought he would become what he has to Baltimore. The city, the team, the fan base, I mean, the culture, everything, to the NFL. It's just the guy is an absolute uh, he's a hero, I would say. It sounds so dumb, but he's a hero to this team, and he's well on his way to a third MVP, which is just absolutely incredible. The dude's 27 years old, and I think people also forget that the 2 seasons that he unfortunately lost due to injury down the stretch, he was also top 3 in MVP voting in both of those seasons respectively. So he could very well already have had a third if he were to finish either of those seasons potentially. But the guy is unreal. He gets better every season. We're in year 7 now, and he's even better now. And it's just crazy to think about, man. This guy, if Lamar Jackson, and I'm going to say if and when because he will win one, if and when the day comes, he wins a Super Bowl and holds a Lombardi up, and he has his third or fourth MVP. Who knows how many he's going to win of those? Every single season, he's going to be in contention for one. Every single season of his career so far, he's been in contention for an MVP, pretty much. So the guy can win a handful of MVPs in his career. Who knows? But the day that he wins a Lombardi Trophy, I think he will cement himself as a top 10 quarterback in NFL history. Undoubtedly, he is already in year 7 the best dual threat quarterback of all time, and I think anyone with a right mindset can say that confidently. And the dude's 27 years old, so I would say he easily has just as many years as he already played in the NFL, even more than that left to play. Granted, everything goes smooth. So the dude's going to break every record I think you could think of as far as, what kind of quarterback he is. And he's already got the most perfect passer rating games in NFL history, and he's in year 7. He's 27 years old. The dude is just he's unreal. We already know. We all know who Lamar Jackson is. I don't really got to keep talking. But I think the day that comes when he eventually wins the Lombardi, he'll probably have his third or fourth MVP. He'll easily be a top 10 quarterback of all time. And I think anyone who argues that would be insane. And they are just a hater because you could realistically already say that he's potentially a top 25. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. A 30 top 25 quarterback of all time. I mean, you can realistically already argue that. So, and he's has 2 MVPs and no Super Bowl appearance. So, the more he does, the better for his case, of course. But I think easily when he wins a ring, he'll be a top 10 quarterback of all time.
I honestly don't think you're getting too ahead of yourself. I've seen even people, and it's dumb to say this, but I've seen people on TikTok and other analysts, Twitter, whatever, for fun, just give their top 10 quarterbacks of all time. And I've seen Lamar at 9 or 10 in some of them already. And I think that, Dawson, to honestly push back on your argument a little bit, and I think you're just being, what's the word? I don't know. I think you're just trying to not be a homer. But I will say that 3 MVPs, I think he's a top 10 quarterback of all time. Rings, who cares? And you had Colin Cowherd had an argument, I think last week, on his show where he was talking about Dan Marino. And for anyone that doesn't know, Dan Marino has 0 rings. And he is in every single top 10 quarterback of all time list you'll see.
Yep.
And I'm not saying Lamar's not going to get a rating. I think we all 3 believe that he's going to get 1 or 2 or 3. Who knows? But I'm just saying 3 MVPs without a ring, I think he's already a top 10 quarterback of all time. And the points you guys made, the whole his passer rating is insane. I mean, his career passer rating, his passer rating this year, he's on pace for 43 touchdowns and 3 picks. 4,500 passing yards, 900 rushing yards. I mean,
that would be a top 3 season in NFL history.
Yeah.
I mean, that has to be, right? I mean, if that's not the best season in NFL history by quarterback, and it's not, but I would have to look back, obviously, because I can't think off the top of my head. But that would be a top 3 season in NFL history by any quarterback. I mean, it has to be. Those numbers would be.
Yeah.
And also, damn near 1,000 rushing yards. I mean,
Yeah.
the dude might have almost 6,000. No, I don't want. Okay, that's crazy.
5,500.
The dude might literally break almost 5,500 total all-purpose yards, which in what,
Hmm.
50 touchdowns? That is
Yeah.
just insane,
With
dude.
like 3 interceptions. And also, he has 2 picks this year. They were both dropped, by the way,
Like that is just
if anyone has forgotten about that.
in what he's first in rating and QBR. What do they
He's
call those
number 1 in
metrics?
passer rating,
Okay.
number 1 in QBR. He's 2nd in passing yards and
3 yards.
13th, 3rd
He's
in
3
passing
yards
yards.
behind. 3 yards behind. He's in
Okay, so
second
he's
with
3rd
passing
in
yards.
he's
No, he's
2nd in
second.
passing yards?
He's second.
Okay, so
He's second in passing yards behind
he's
Burrow by 3
Three,
yards.
yeah, but
so
behind
he's 3 yards behind Burrow in passing yards. Lamar is 13th in pass attempts. So
That's crazy. That is a
his yards
crazy.
per attempt is way higher than anyone else's.
Yeah, he's accelerated his game in such a drastic fashion. It's incredible. Like as big of a Ravens and Lamar Jackson homer I am, obviously we all are. I never expected him to take this leap, and I've
Yeah.
never, I promise you, I've never doubted his ability to pass. I've never been on that bandwagon or anything you want to call it, but I never expected him to make this big of a jump so fast because you look at him, he won MVP last year, and there's a huge discussion and conspiracy last year with his MVP and he didn't deserve it and all this. Dude, he's already got better numbers 10 games into this season than he is like all of last season. It's just incredible, dude. Lamar is very well going to be turning 28 with 3 MVPs. And that is incredible. I mean, that's got to be that 100% has to be the fastest in NFL history, right? All these other guys with 3 or more
Gotta
MVPs,
be.
there's no way they got him by 28.
That's true. That's gotta
So
be true.
there's no way. So that's by far going to be the fastest anyone has earned 3 MVPs. So I mean, the dude's incredible, and he's building a legacy, of course. And when he wins that ring, he's 100% going to be top 10 of all time. I'm not ready to confidently agree with you, Brad, that a third MVP puts him at top 10. I do think it's close, but I'm not confidently saying, he wins MVP this year with no Super Bowl appearance. I'm not saying he's top 10. He's very
Yeah.
close, but there would have to be a little bit more. And at the end of the day, Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Granted, he doesn't have a ring, but I do agree with Zach. That ring is the cherry on top, and that is the undoubtedly, however you want to say that, undoubted factor to his legacy. So if he gets a ring, there's no arguing. Like you can't argue it at all. He's one of the greatest of all time. Because he's done everything. He's got the solo accolades. God knows how many MVPs he's going to finish his career with. If you're going to ask me right now, realistically, I think 4 at least is how many he finishes his career with. And that with a Super Bowl ring, I mean, it's just incredible. That's one of the best players of all time.
Some final thoughts for me about Lamar. I wrote some things down that I completely forgot to say when I read the question. So one of the parts of the question was if we were surprised, and I think it would almost be we'd be lying if no one expects a quarterback they draft to end up being a Hall of Famer. And I would say that the 2019 MVP season, I think we were impressed, but I don't think we were like shocked by his performance that year. I think we knew he had that in him. Last year, I think is when we were sort of like, this guy might be a really, really good passer too. And we all knew he had the potential to do that. But I think this year, and I think some people are sort of combining last year and this year, when in reality, this year, Lamar is on a different level than last year. And I was watching the Exit 52 podcast with Spencer and Jake, and Spencer mentioned that he thinks Lamar is one of the best passers of all time already. And when you look at the stats, it's true. When you look at passer rating, when you look at touchdown interception ratio, when you look at yards per attempt, he is one of the best passers of all time. And you might not think that because rookie year, he wasn't great. But I mean, another stat, and this isn't a stat that's like exact, but you can say it. So rookie year, he played what? 5 or 6 games. 2019 was a full season. 2020 was a full season. 21, 22 injured. 23 full season. So if he were to win an MVP this year, it would be 3 MVPs in 4 seasons played. I mean, does it get any crazier than that?
That is incredible, dude. Like that is a serious stat. Yeah, I mean, I think he's already. I mean, it sounds so stupid because we were literally talking about, like, oh, is he a top 10 quarterback of all time? But like, I think a third MVP, no matter what, despite if he wins a Super Bowl or not, puts him in the Hall of Fame with 3 MVPs. I mean, I think that you can probably all agree on, at least the vast majority. But as far as like top 10 of all time, that's obviously a different discussion. And I would say he probably needs a Super Bowl for that statement. Um, but I mean, he came in as a rookie in 2018, took over halfway, and I
6 and
mean,
1.
literally took it over, like took this team over. And then obviously 2019 season, like Sutton, I believe, just said, he came out of the gate firing against Miami and never looked back and had like a 35-6 touchdown to interception ratio and 1 MVP in his first real season as a starter. Yeah, that was incredible. Like we knew the guy was good. Obviously, watching college and knowing what he was as a player, obviously we knew this guy was good. But for him to come in as a first year is a legitimate starter and do what he did and win MVP and just be like the best quarterback in football. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect that early at least. So, and I didn't expect what he's doing this season. I mean, he's by far and away the best quarterback in football this season. Um, and it's crazy how the dude's still getting better, and he's 27 years old.
Yeah, I think the end all be all for what this kind of conversation with Lamar specifically on Pat McAfee show. I'm actually wearing the hoodie today. That's kind of funny. But on Pat McAfee show, Aaron Rodgers was on there and he was asked about Lamar and his success lately and how right now he's on pace to get that third MVP. And he's like, the difference between like the best of the best is that every year on tape, you can put something on there that's completely different, beating teams, good teams in different ways each time. Like you have an entire off season to learn about this guy, like all these divisional guys to see him twice a year. They're putting multiple scouts on computers on getting him like in the building, trying to figure out any way that they can stop him. Steelers kind of have a little bit of that sauce, but still, the NFL can't stop him. There's been a different thing every single time that he's played the full amount that he can. And even that 1 year where he was on pace to be the MVP and gets hurt, it's the same conversation. So the NFL has no answer right now. And as long as the Ravens can continue to give them, the props to be able to play his game and the coaches, like as much as we would hate someone like Harbaugh is the perfect guy for him just to be the players coach and listen to him, listen to all of his players and figure out what they need to do to win. And who better to tell you how to win than Lamar, because he's right now, his mind is also better than almost anyone in football. And his stats are also right there to do it. So you can't say for, it's going to be a little harsh, Patrick Mahomes, for Josh Allen, that his stats on a full season when they've played have been continuously great in those full seasons. This year, they've kind of had Mahomes having a fallen off in stats. Allen was close last year. Allen's kind of closer this year too. But in the past, you can't say that every quarterback is doing what he's doing. No one in the NFL has. And it just means that he's on a different playing field. It means that it's like it's a talent that deserves and needs to be in the top 10 discussion. It's just you've got to keep building on what you're doing, and they are. And this is a great year to put the icing on the cake.
It is so funny to think about real quick. I will say, after when he got drafted all throughout his young career, but most notably after he won MVP and had that dominant season, it was so funny to see the people saying, "Oh, you wait, the NFL is going to catch up to Lamar. They're going to figure him out. He ain't going to do nothing. They'll figure him out. They'll catch up. Tape's there. They know how to stop him. Give him 3 years. He'll be out of the league." Dude, that was the general consensus on Lamar Jackson. It was, yeah, he's great right now. You wait till he can't run for that long. He won't sustain any long tier, NFL success. He won't make it 4 years in the league. He can't throw. It'll catch up to him. All this dumb, stupid crap that these people said. He's proved all of it wrong. He always has, and always will, and still does it. Here we are in year 7. He's on pace to win his 3rd MVP. And I hate to see it, but I also love to see it. I think Lamar this season, with how good he's been as a passer, has changed a lot of people's mindset on him because I will say I don't see anywhere near as much hate on Lamar Jackson nowadays as I used to, I would say, what, 2, 3 years ago. You just don't see it. And
Mhm.
I love it. At the same time, I hate it because it's like, I told you, like, yeah, we told you. But it is good to see because he doesn't deserve any of this hate. And it's so stupid how he ever did receive any hate because he's like the most humble, caring person ever, and he's also like a fantastic player, and he's a great dude. And it's just crazy because nowadays, like when you see a post about Lamar Jackson anywhere, any content about him, it's actually like a lot of good things, and they're like, yeah, the goat, like really good, top 3, top 2, like the best quarterback. Back then, it would be like bust, trash, running back, washed, not good, not gonna last, all this stupid stuff. Now I feel like, I get it. He's a quarterback, so people want to see him, light up the league in passing yards because all these box score merchants want to see that. Because that's the only thing they think that matters to a quarterback's success is if he can throw for a lot of passing yards, which is so stupid. Given now that he's done that, he's opened a lot of eyes, and a lot of people are realizing that Lamar is the real deal. And it only took him 7 years to realize this, almost a 3rd MVP. Um, so it's pretty cool to see he's kind of finally starting to get a little bit more respect that he deserves. He rightfully deserves. And I'm talking specifically Lamar, not the team. So it's really good to see. At the same time, it's kind of annoying because it took him this long to realize that we knew immediately. But it's interesting to see what has transcended this season with him becoming I would say, top 3 passer in football right now.
Yeah, no, I just looked up. We were talking about passing yards compared to being 13th in attempts, and his yards per. It just says average. I'm just gonna say it's yards per attempt. 9.3. Brock Purdy's second with 8.8. So, and then it kind of just goes down by 10th of a decibel, as Lamar is a whole 0.5 above
Lamar is
second.
number 1 with 9.3 yards per attempt.
Yeah. And
Wow.
Purdy's
That is
second with 8.8.
crazy.
And then it's
9
8.7, 8.6,
9
8.4,
yards
8.2,
attempt, dude. That is
8.2, 8.1.
crazy.
Wow.
This might be completion. It just
I mean,
says
he's
average.
okay. Let's be honest. He's first in the league in passing yards. Joe Burrow has had like 2 450-yard
Yeah.
passing games against our defense. I mean, let's be honest. He's behind by 3 yards, and Joe
So,
Burrow's only first because he's thrown for 900 yards against us. That's
yeah. And
incredible, man. We really, and he's tied with, I think, Burrow and Baker for most passing touchdowns in the league. And like I said, I'm not a
yeah.
box score watcher. I'm just saying this is what people want to see, and this is what people care about in a weird way. So, and he's finally doing it. He's finally getting it done.
And you have Lamar with a 69 completion percentage, Burrow's at 68, Allen's at 63. Burrow, Lamar, and Allen, like you said, Dawson, all have. Oh, no. Burrow, Lamar, and Baker all have 24 touchdowns. Baker has 9 picks. Burrow has 4 picks. Lamar has 2 picks.
Which were both drops.
And yeah, Lamar's passer rating is 123. It's currently the highest passer rating in NFL history through 10 games.
123. Insane.
Joe Burrow is second in passer rating at 108. So
That's
it's just like
crazy, dude.
Sutton has a comment here. What do you guys say to critics who think the play action off the run makes Lamar's job easy and inflates his numbers? I would say that he's the reason for there being openings off of play action. He is the reason.
I want to add something. I don't know when this was, but there was some Twitter conversation of like Lamar being a yards after catch merchant. And I think that is absolutely hilarious. That is so funny. Because, our weapons, aren't necessarily the best in the league. And I've also taken a ton of criticism, whether it's by the fans or by others. And it means that both sides are doing everything and doing everything very, really, really well. And
It is.
I don't know if necessarily like the play, like I actually haven't heard that. So that really made me laugh there. That's awesome. I've never heard that.
I will say real quick too before we wrap this up that it is hilarious that we finally reached a point in time where it's like Lamar has weapons narrative is like the thing against him because there's nothing you can throw against Lamar right now. But now we finally reached a point. Like I saw a graph earlier today on Twitter, and I completely forget what the stat or the metric was, but it was something about like how good our weapons are.
It was
It was like
separation percentage.
yeah, okay, that's what I thought it
Mm.
was. And it was just like all of our guys, of course, like in the really good area of that. And it was just like something about like, wow, we finally reached a point where, Lamar's how good his weapons are being held against him because before obviously it was, we had nobody. But now it's like we have players. So now, of course, naturally so these people are gonna be like, oh well, he has weapons, his job's easy. And I believe it was a Bengals fan, he was saying nobody has it easier than Lamar Jackson. And I'm just like, dude,
What the heck?
get out of here, dude. Your quarterback has T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
That's awesome.
No. Yeah. So,
That is
but we
awesome.
finally reached a point in time where Lamar's weapons are being held against him because, he has it easy because he has elite weapons.
Yeah. It's just
So
They're not
I-
that elite, too. I mean, I love those guys,
No,
but it's
they're
not like
not.
it's like
I mean, Zay.
where
I
would it
think-
rank in the league amongst like tight ends, wide receivers? I'm not going to count running backs.
I'm going to count running backs because it does help the quarterback out.
But then
I
are
think
you
you
saying
get-
it's
I
just for
think-
passing?
I think
'Cause-
Lions have better offensive personnel. I think the Niners have better offensive personnel. I mean, they're definitely like top 5 in terms of like offensive talent, excluding quarterback, with Zay and
What?
Bateman and Andrews and Derrick Henry.
yeah, but it doesn't even matter if they are or they aren't. We haven't had this in so long.
Exactly.
and
It's his first
you
year
can't
ever.
you can't literally use that as an excuse of why Lamar's playing. He has it easy. No, he does not. Really? Joe Burrow has it easier than Lamar, and Lamar's playing better than him.
Like
Joe
Zach,
Burrow has 2 top 10 wide receivers.
Zach, I'll say it's like Deontay Johnson is our right now wide receiver 4 because of Aguilar, and you have like Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, an O line that's playing solid.
I don't know if I
Andrews
can put
likely.
them
I
top
think-
5 though.
I think it's a top 5 unit, including the running backs. I think if you're just going pass catchers, probably top 10.
Okay.
If you're
Okay.
including Derrick Henry, Justice Hill, and Keaton Mitchell, it's a top 5 unit. I think the Lions easily have the best offensive personnel in the league. I
Yeah.
think the Niners are right there up with them. Who else is? I mean,
Eagles?
are the Ravens? Yeah. Okay.
Eagles,
Good.
definitely.
Good. Eagles. I think Ravens are the Ravens 4th?
It doesn't matter. It's just a point of like now we have weapons and they're using it against
It's funny
Lamar.
because it's the
Like,
first year that he's had.
Different time for a debate like that. That'd be fun though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. Weird times.
But I feel like this was a good conversation because every single game this year, Lamar has an insane game, and we haven't really had the time to just like talk about the year that he's having. And I feel like that was
It's
fun.
generational. It's generational, man.
Yeah.
He's really it's not just like a normal like, oh yeah, Lamar Jackson's good year. Like this is truly like gonna be, if he keeps it up, one of the
It'll be
best
one of the
seasons.
best seasons.
It's
It'll be
one
better
of
than
one of the couple, I would say handful, best seasons
like a few.
all time by any player, any quarterback, anybody. Like there's a very select few seasons maybe that would compete to what this season could be for Lamar. It's absolutely incredible. And I would say he's probably one like breakout rushing game away on top of his
from
passing
1,000.
from having 1,000 rushing yards and like 45 through the air, dude. It's insane. That is crazy, dude.
I will say, and I'm not positive, but I think that there's never been a quarterback with over 40 passing touchdowns and under 5 interceptions. So that Lamar would be the first. I think Aaron Rodgers has been close a couple times.
Don't worry, boys. Mahomes will win MVP when the Chiefs go 17-0 and he has 20 touchdowns to 19 interceptions.
Comment from Michael: Shannon Sharp has been the biggest critic of Lamar, and now he's not. How do you guys feel about that? Personally, I'm perfectly okay with it. Colin Cowherd said Lamar was going to be the next Tim Tebow, and now he's his biggest supporter. I think having the ability to flip, I respect that so much more than still saying Lamar's not a good quarterback.
Trying to like hide it and make you like
Yeah.
yourself make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't stand the media nowadays, dude. There's very few people that I like. I really don't like any of the analysts. They're just so hypocritical. And I get their job is for the clicks, but it's like, come on, dude. Just admit when you're wrong. don't make yourself sound like an idiot. Like there's a lot of guys out there, man, obviously with Lamar, who now have to eat their words and they're trying to make themselves sound like, oh well, he technically still isn't. It's just like, dude, zip it. Like you made a mistake. You don't know what you're talking about, so stop. And
Exactly.
Shannon Sharp's one of them.
Any other thoughts, guys?
I will say Ryan Clark's probably my least favorite person on television.
I thought you were about to say your favorite. I was like, whoa, dude, that's out
No,
of left.
and
That is
also
so funny.
he's a Steeler too, of course. I cannot stand Ryan Clark like with a passion. And in the less than 1% chance that he sees this, Ryan Clark, I do not like you.
Wow. Shots
I think
fired.
Ryan Clark is. I like Ryan Clark.
Throwing
I have
Ryan
no
Clark
problem.
shade.
I have no problem with anyone in the media.
Throwing shade at Ryan Clark on a
Um,
podcast at 10:30 on a
Covered his
Wednesday night.
bases and Dawson's shooting him freaking full-blown automatic.
I have problems with several, but Ryan Clark's probably my least favorite.
Okay. We'll be back in 23 hours, guys. So
Boom. Yes.
Dawson has one more thing to say.
Oh,
Are you-
no, I was just giving it
you
all
hold it. Oh, okay. Yeah, guys, we'll be back in 23 hours to do a more in-depth Steelers preview.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
have a Steelers fan on with us, very smart guy,
Oh, yeah.
to have a different opinion. And it'll be fun to sort of engage in that sense. So we hope to have you guys there. Tomorrow night, we'll be live again. And thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Listen to us on Spotify in the description if you'd rather listen there. And yeah, thanks for being here tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow.